Once upon a time, there was this organization called the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation had a lot of political power, especially during the Bush administration, which I remember very vividly. However, within the past 20 or so years, they have lost a lot of power. They have lost a lot of lobbyists, they have lost a lot of their talking points, they have lost their core audience in the political spectrum. They've lost a lot of congressmen, they've lost a lot of senators. They're losing it. In comes Project 2025 with literally anyone they could throw at it. The biggest names that the Heritage Foundation has in one fucking book, in a document that is usually kept private between the Heritage Foundation and whichever administration. Notably, Reagan had something similar to Project 2025, but only implemented 30% of it. Gives you an idea to how much they even listen to the Heritage Foundation, okay? Even at their peak. The fact that they made this public is a sign of desperation. These people are desperate. They're desperate for you to listen to them, and they're desperate for these policies to come true within any span of time. Whether it be now or it be 30 years from now. Some of these policies may come to pass because this is an act of desperation and nothing more. These people are desperate because they are losing political power and they decide to act out and spill all the government's secrets, all the government's tea, and all that shit that nobody really cares about, but they expect you to care about it. So we're going to continue reading the most petty document I've ever fucking read in my life. This shit is more petty than Mean Girls, okay? This is more petty than, like, than a pedicure. It's more petty than a pedicure, okay? God help me. Ooh, you know what's scary this Halloween? Some foreign policy that might actually come true. That's the real fear right there. Scary shit. Alright, so today's video is going to be a double author whammy. First, we're going to go with a passage from Mike Gonzalez, finishing the last chapter. And then we're going to move on to some actual crazy foreign policy from Max Primorak. Max Primrak. Sorry I butchered your name. You butcher mine all the time. Who cares? First, we're going to go with Mike Gonzalez. Mike Gonzalez is another Twitter user. You know how they be. They can't stay off it. You know what I mean? Even if they're part of the FBI, they got to have a Twitter account just to, be a conflict of interest. So yeah, we're just going to go in and start his chapter. Where does he start? Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Oh, this is where we go after PBS, huh? Like they said. Okay, so the right's attack on PBS is very hilarious because PBS doesn't have Sesame Street anymore, and that's what Sesame Street is what they're really mad at. HBO and Discovery, they own Sesame Street. So what is left on PBS? The Lawrence Welk Show and nature documentaries. So what's the right got against Lauren Welk? I don't fucking know. I don't know. It seems anti-American to me. Let's read this stupid-ass passage. Every Republican president since Richard Nixon has tried to strip Corporation of Public Broadcasting of taxpayer funding. That is significant, not because it means for half a century the Republican presidents have failed to accomplish what they are set out to do. You said it, not me. You said that your party fails at that for a decade, not us. No, you didn't say any of that. But also, Nixon was the first president in office when the National Public Radio, NPR, and the Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, in which CBS funds, or CPB funds, went on air. In other words, all Republican presidents that have recognized public funding in domestic broadcast is a mistake. The 35-year-old lawyer, Nixon, blah, 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 blah. We get it. Public broadcasting was a mistake in the 70s, and y'all still mad about it because y'all a bunch of old cronies that don't watch PBS nowadays. Lord help the PBS subscribers in the world, because they coming after PBS. Demonstrated pattern of bias. Conservatives thus rewarded the president who eliminates the tyrannical situation. PBS and NPR do not even bother to run programming that would attract conservatives. They don't even run. What the fuck is the Lawrence Welk Show? America, America, God shed his grace on thee. They don't fucking run shit. You're mad because they don't have enough shows for you? Like what? They don't have like the Duck Brothers or whatever the fuck? Like, bro, it's PBS. Of course they're gonna have boring documentaries, historical documentaries and shit, and music. PBS's audience is mostly liberal, quotes, and consistently liberal. Bro. I watch PBS. I tell you that this guy doesn't even watch PBS. Mind you, Mike Gonzalez has been out of the country for about 20 years. So maybe PBS back in the 70s or back in the 80s or even so may have been hot and may have actually swayed people's opinions. But the PBS of nowadays, it's already stripped of all its power. What are you going to do to it more? And you guys want to defund PBS but put money into softwave radio, into radios? Seems kind of weird to me, but hey, defunding through budgetary process. Oh Lord, you acting like PBS isn't funded by viewers like you.
Thank you.
PBS of Carter Connor's 15 million advance appropriation, 40 million increase, blah, 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 blah. You're going to take away PB's budget so you could defund PBS. Public interest versus privilege. What the fuck is this paragraph? Oh God, stripping public funding would of course mean that NPR, PBS, and Pacifica Radio and other leftist broadcasters NPR, PBS, and Pacifica Radio being leftist? You actually hear real leftists though? Like, go on YouTube and look up a real fucking leftist, and I guarantee you that they're not repeating they're not fucking looking up NPR, PBS, or Pacifica Radio stories. They're looking at you. They're looking at conservatives and adding to the problem of just mocking conservatives instead of actually working with them. And they also eat other leftists alive. What can I say? It's a two-party system. So, luckily, Mike Gonzalez's chapters is very short, but within 3 pages, he has a whole plan to defund PBS. Let's read the author's note. Oh, wait, no, that's the author's note from the last. Okay, well, see, this passage is so fucking short that I accidentally scrolled up too high and read the author's note from the last chapter. So let's just move on. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes. That guy's a joke, and all he's doing is defunding PBS. So bye-bye, Mike Gonzalez. Go rant on Twitter about PBS, okay? Agency for International Development by Max Primorac. Now, this guy is a bit dangerous because he's actually smart and actually educated and actually has experience doing foreign policy in other places. So things in this chapter are very credible and may or may not come true depending on what they are and depending on how ridiculous it could get. So, let's continue. The U.S. Agency for International Development, U.S. Government's International Development Disaster Programs, USAID, helps communities lead their own development in journeys in reducing the impact of conflict, preventing hunger and spread of pandemic disease, blah, 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 violence, instability, blah, 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 blah. We already know who USAID is. USAID, U.S. foreign aid, be everywhere. We got boots on the ground everywhere, doing all sorts of things. Let's get to, the overview is going to be like a history lesson. He's talking about how JFK pursued Foreign Assistance Acts of 1961 to promote foreign policy, security, and national interests of the United States at the height of the Cold War with the Soviet Union. Yes. Tell me something new. Under the Trump administration, U.S. aid focused on ending the need for foreign aid, placing the journey of self-reliance. Placing countries into a journey of self-reliance. Where have we heard self-reliance before? Is it Margaret Thatcher? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Max Pontiac is not only a member of the Heritage Foundation, but is also a member of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. I bet you UK motherfuckers know who the fuck the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom are. So, I mean, that gives you perspective on this guy's politics across the pond, as well as here in the States. So, Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom. And we know Margaret Thatcher was all about countries relying on themselves, self-reliance. This is a very trademark Margaret Thatcher thing. So, this shit ain't new. This shit ain't new. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The shit that they're trying to spew, it ain't new. It's old as shit. It hasn't worked. Most of their shit has not worked. So we're gonna continue reading his stuff. The Biden administration has deformed the agency by treating it as its global platform to pursue overseas divisive political and cultural agenda that promotes abortion, climate extremism, and gender radicalism. Okay. So this is interesting because we're going to see a lot of this in this chapter where he claims that the left is trying to promote all these different things overseas in order to gain allies. However, the U.S. Conservative Party has a long history that we've even talked about on this series before of funding religious right rebels in countries and then giving them weapons and seeing what happens. Is that the kind of foreign policy you want? No, of course not. So the alternative being we respect minorities, we respect the gender extremism, the environmental extremism. Mind you, this guy wants to amend the BUILD Act. And the BUILD Act was a bill that was passed in 2018. And it helped corporations in America reach out to other nations and help build in those other nations. He wants to amend it. I don't know in what way, but he wants to give less to these countries. But he also claims that giving less to the countries that we're helping will, help us be stronger, of course. So, I mean, there are talking points that the left also has that he has, but he mutates it in a way that makes it obvious that his agenda is, not different from Thatcher's or Reagan's. Aligning U.S. foreign aid to U.S. foreign policy. U.S. foreign aid is often disconnected with the strategy to practice U.S. foreign policy in coordination with cities, departments to provide foreign assistance. U.S. aid administrators should have been authorized to take on the additional role of Director of Foreign Assistance, rank of blah, 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 blah. Countering China's development challenge. Oh my God. How long is he going to talk about China? He's going to talk about China for about 2 pages. So, like, I feel like like I said, this is the part of the video where I feel like I'm gonna nitpick some things that he's saying, because if I read all of this out loud, it might be a national security risk to our secret agents in China. So, like, or the chapter before us, China House. There's probably no mention of China House in this, because I think whoever wrote that chapter was snitching on some people. They had to probably relocate China House after this. China House being a governmental body that the U.S. has in China. Thus, it's called China House. Creative names. Brilliant. It's totally not going to get a nation to hate us. The World Bank estimates blah, blah, blah loans of financial distress, leading many countries to seek emergency foreign aid in Western donors. Chinese-funded projects unknown to employing substantial labor, environmental practices, fueling cooperation, promoting wasteful financial deductions by the government, advancing China's geologic interest, blah, 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 blah. Integrated, robust counter-China response called Clear Choice. Clear Choice? Oh, no. Oh, man, there's going to be jokes all over this now. Clear Choice is the name of a dispensary in Washington. So, integrated and robust counter response called Clear Choice that is contrasted in America's development approach on liberty, sovereignty, and free markets in China, and predatory financing schemes in subordination to Beijing. And you kind of call this plan Clear Choice. Okay. Launched its first digital strategy to promote 5G access in engaging markets to combat Beijing's effort to equip regimes and tools to stifle democracy. Okay, this is an interesting tactic. In a country and a region like Asia that is already very technologically advanced, you're going to try to bring 5G to Asia? I thought you were cutting foreign aid. Why are you going to give everyone in Asia 5G? Okay. Like, how are we going to amend the Build Act? By building more, damn it. By building more. Just more of the stuff I like. Whatever, girl. Established an office in Greenland to have counter China's claims of being a near Arctic state. You're using China as an excuse to start up an office in Greenland? Make it make sense. God, make it make sense. You either have a house, you either have an operative house in China, or you don't. You don't fucking use China as an excuse to go fucking bother Greenland of all places. Lord. Joined U.S. Foreign Homeland Security. Uh-oh. He said the magic word. He said the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. But in however many chapters ago, Department of Homeland Security got dismantled. I don't think he knows that yet. Oh, just like the other credible author with a brain, he has no idea what the bozos did chapters before. Let's see how he'll implement a department that doesn't exist anymore. He joined with the Homeland Security and National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to help coastal countries detect and halt illegal, unreported, or unregulated fishing. Unregulated fishing? and confront criminal activities practiced by state-run Chinese fishing fleets that violate international norms and ravage fishing industries in developing countries and worsen food and rob valuable communities of livelihoods and deplete maritime resources. You're going to start a war over fucking fish? Oh my God, this guy is a headache. How are you going to say that? How are you going to tell Congress, and you told Congress to their faces, that you want to take money away from foreign aid and help focus on the homeland, when all you're bringing up is how to aggravate foreign nations? You're going to start a war over fishing, over where China can fish? Because, they be fishing all over the place? Are you making up a problem? What is this? Oh my God, I can't with this. Let's continue. U.S. aid has built an infrastructure to carry out its multiple lines of counter-China operations, blah, 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 blah. Climate change. Do you believe in climate change? Let's read about it. Upon taking office, President Biden executive orders to put climate crisis at the center of U.S. foreign policy and national security, to mitigate the devastating inequalities intersect with gender, race, economic security. U.S. aid subsequently declared itself a climate agency and corporate sector of countries' foreign investment to trade, support administration's global policy to transition fossil fuels to renewable energy. That's nothing new. Get to the good stuff. The administration has incorporated radical climate policy into every U.S. aid initiative. Poor babies. It has joined and funded international partnerships that is dedicated to advancing the Paris Climate Agreement, supported idea of giving trillions of dollars and more aid to transfer to climate reparations. Climate reparations. They don't even give real people reparations. You think they're going to give climate reparations? Oh, they're trying. They're trying. Oh, they're trying all kinds of shit here. The aid industry claims that climate change causes poverty, which is false. Enduring conflict and government cooperation delivers global. Enduring conflict, government corruption, and bad economic policies that are main drivers of willful poverty. Well, you said it. They said, climate change doesn't cause poverty. Corrupt institutions with government bureaucracy assholes cause poverty. Bro, you're acting like you're not part of the Heritage Foundation. A government organization that has lobbied since God knows when, since before you were born, since before any of us, really. So, you said it, not me, okay? Y'all said it, not me, okay? Y'all said it. You were thinking it, I know, but you said it, I know. U.S. aid should cease its war on fossil fuels. That statement is beautifully ironic, especially coming from someone who worked on foreign aid in Afghanistan and possibly Iraq and all these other places where we were literally at war for oil. Literally at war for oil. So this statement is really fucking funny, and this man just put on the clown shoes. The U.S. aid should cease its war on fossil fuels. Oh, we're at war with fossil fuels. We can't use them anymore. We can't use them anymore because we can't invade other countries for their oil no more. Now we have to convince vulnerable communities to want to develop in their well-bred land, their land. We got to convince smaller communities to develop their land just so we can get their oil. We can't cause war anymore. Oh. Crimea River. U.S. aid shut down agencies, offices, and programs, directives, advance the Paris Climate Agreement. The administration should rescind all climate policies and its foreign aid to programs, specifically the USAID's Climate Strategy of 2022 to 2030, shut down the agency's offices, programs, directives designed to advance the Paris Climate Agreement, and narrowly limit funding to traditional climate mitigation efforts. Who is this really saving money for? Is it saving money for the world, or is it saving money for the oil tycoon fat cats? Oh no. He has a whole ass page on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh boy, the diversity, equity, inclusion agenda. My agenda will infect you. Alright, let's do this. USAID has installed advisors in diversity, equity, and inclusion committees in all its bureaus, offices, and overseas missions, created to an agency of wide dashboard of DEI, scorehead, and all offices and missions to track staff compliance with administration's DIE directives. The chief DIE offices overseas. Infrastructure sits in the local office. By the way, the diversity, equity, inclusion offices, they still exist in our government. However, within the past 3 years, most of these offices in Hollywood, the diversity, equity, inclusion offices, have been shut down, have been closed. We fired a lot of people. So our government is like one of the few places that still support this fully. So now let's read about how he wants to take it back. Those seeking business at the agency must describe approaches they will use to diversify their partner base, to gender and climate equity, corrupting every aspect of the agency's overseas work. I'm sorry, how is having women on the payroll like gonna affect? How is having women on the payroll corrupt? How is having, I don't know, maybe a foreign national in a foreign agency in a land that they know, how is that gonna hurt anybody? Don't we need that information? Don't we need that information to grow in those developing nations? So, and that's the thing, diversity is very fucking different in different countries. It is. If you was light skinned and you all of a sudden you go to Mexico, you're automatically a little bit diverse, because that is it's a little bit that is what diversity looks like over there. Okay. If you are a white motherfucker, all of a sudden you're in Uganda for some reason, you are automatically the minority. That is what diversity looks like over there. So in a way, yes, diversity is being used to weaponize certain things, but it's in the ultimate service of the US government. What is diversity in one nation isn't diversity in another nation. Diversity is not an equal slate. You know what I mean? So I get what he's saying. However, his solution, let's read about it. The next conservative administration should dismantle the USAID's DIE apparatus by eliminating the chief diversity officer position, along with the DEI advisors and committees, to cancel DEI scoreboard and dashboard. There's a scoreboard for this? Okay. To remove DIE requirements from contract to grant tenders and awards, to issue directive, cease promotion of DII agenda, including the bullying LGBTQ agenda. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm the bully now. I'm the bully now, bitch. You fucking do what I say. I'm the bully now, bitch. No foreign aid money for you unless you got enough gays. Lord. When is this document ending? The upshot and hostile work environment for anyone who disagrees with the Biden's administration identity policies. This pursuit of ideological purity threatens the merit-based professional advancement. Okay, you can't be talking about idealism when you're a Christian organization, because that's what y'all run on, is idealism. Okay? Federal departments, agencies cannot play partisan politics. Staff, blah, 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 blah. We get it. You're gonna cut a bunch of offices, you're gonna fire a bunch of people because we're the gay bullies. Oh, we're the bullying and LGBTQ agenda. We're bullies, you know? Even though in other nations we're getting hate crimed on and fucking getting executed and shit just for being caught. Just for being caught. They don't even execute people that are actually gay. They execute people that get caught in the act. Okay? So imagine if you were fucking around in college and you got a hot college girl roommate and you start kissing on her and it's like that Girls Gone Wild video, but then you get caught and then you get executed. How would that feel like? And all these motherfuckers that look up cochina shit on the internet. What if them people died for that, just for you to get off? Fucking sick bastards, I swear. Refocusing gender equality on women, children, and families. Instead of protecting women and children's unalienable human rights, propelling their ability to thrive in society, past democratic administrations merely erased what females are and what femininity is through gender policies and practices. For instance, the USAID's focus on assaulting vulnerable women, children, and families in the globe by adding protections for ideological advocacy on behalf of progressive special interest groups. USAID has now aggressively promotes abortion and demands under the guise of sexual reproductive health and reproductive rights. Okay. Now here's the thing about the abortion talk, especially when it comes to other nations. Other nations don't have, some nations don't have the medical resources we have. So when we're promoting abortion, we're giving people the tools to do these procedures. Now, these procedures that are now being illegalized across the US of A, they have had consequences. These consequences are women with miscarriages who bleed out to death in parking lots, according to some Democratic candidates. And if that's happening here in the United States of America, imagine how bad it is in a foreign nation where they don't have the medical resources, where they don't have the tools to take care of themselves, the medical procedures. They don't even have the doctors to do these procedures to help a woman live. To help a woman live so she can still be a mother to her community, so she can still be alive, so to speak. So yeah, the Biden administration is supporting abortion, but it's not what you think. It's not to promote promiscuous activity or whatever the fuck you Christians think that it's doing. It's to help people fucking live. And that's going to have consequences, just like it's having consequences here in the US of A. Let's read more about it. The next conservative administration should rename USAID Office of Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment as USAID Office of Women and Children and Families. Oh, you're going to do it with a name change, huh? You think you're going to change? This motherfucker made me burp. He wants to change the name of USAID's Office of Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment to the USAID's Office of Women, Children, and Families to refocus more on realign resources with currently support programs to the Office of Women and Children and Families to designate senior gender coordinator as an unapologetically pro-life, politically appointed senior coordinator for women, children, and families to eliminate more than 180 gender advisors points of contact enabled by missions and units throughout the agency. Oh yeah, so we're gonna fire more people. What else is new in this document, okay? This is the pettiest shit I've ever read. In past, the word gender was a polite alternative to the word sex in terms of biological sex. The left has commandeered the term gender, which has meant for male and female to include a spectrum of others seeking to alter their biological and societal sexual norms. The promotion of gender radicalism is blah, 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 blah. Guess what? Gender radicalism isn't fucking new. It's older than you. It's ancient. It is ancient. It goes back to when we were tribes. There are people that had traits of men and women. It is biological. There are some women that have more testosterone, more chromosomes that are shared with men. There are some men who share more estrogen chromosomes, who end up growing breasts, like real milkable breasts. Gender nonconformism is in nature itself. So when these people come up in your policies and they act like it's brand new, it's not. It is ancient. This is ancient shit. You're somehow against because you're the ones trying to politicize gender, while the rest of us try to exist. Think about that. I just want y'all to think about that before I keep reading this shit. Next administration should erasure of blah, 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 missions to help protect and propel all members of society. Okay, you can't be saying you're going to propel all members of society and exclude a bunch of people. So, see, I can see why the Heritage Foundation actually likes showing footage of you off. You know, they actually like showing footage of this author off because he knows how to word things in a way that they like. I see you. Protecting life and foreign assistance. Protecting life should be among the core objectives of the United States foreign assistance. That's fucking funny. Let's read. Shortly after taking office, however, the Biden memorandum has reversed the myriad of pro-life policies and revoked the protecting life and global health assistance and blah, 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 blah. You just mad that they ain't pro-life. I am so close to calling bullshit. International religious freedom. Okay, remember how I said earlier in the video that the right likes to fund religious zealots and cults to do their dirty work for them, to overthrow governments? Like, okay, I have a feeling this is going to be more of the same. Another Trump executive order. How many more? Like, let's dig out. If a party had the audacity to dig up all the executive orders from before, like, we'd be in a mess. Our laws would collide. Our laws would collide. Much like they do now. Advancing international religious freedom, instructed by the Secretary of State and the Constitution of the USAID Ambassador, blah, 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 under the Trump administration, senior level advisor, blah, 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 blah. Administration for coordinating the approach of priority. Legal guidance answers the facts and USAID staff, USAID officials, and blah, 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 blah. Because the next conservative administration should champion the core American values of religious freedom, which correlates significantly. Okay. Religious freedom is a dog whistle. It is a dog whistle. It's either to help the rebels we're funding overthrow whatever actual progressive government's in charge, which has happened many times in the past, especially under Nixon, that you mentioned, and Reagan and all these other people. And when they say religious freedom, that's not what they mean. In other words, you're free to express your religion as long as it's the religion we pick for you, which has been an American tradition for a long time. Just ask South Korea. South Korea, a predominantly Christian nation now, because we came in and we gave them religious freedom. By religious freedom, we imposed our fucking religion on them and told them that they wouldn't be free unless they signed up to our religion. So, we did that. When y'all complain about K-pop and Korean shit being conservative, we're the ones that did that. The United States did that, so. Oh, I want to call bullshit on this chapter. I'm barely, scratching the surface. I'm almost at page 300, I swear. Global health, blah, 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 blah. Largest funder of global health initiatives. More than 60 years, American people have offered health assistance to the world. Millions of lives. Bureau, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, USA global funded health and remain rooted in patterns began decades ago to measure improvements in terms of inputs and money spent. Consequently, the next conservative administration should focus on updating the Global Health Bureau's portfolio, emphasizing the approach to supporting women, children, and families, and women, children, and families. So this is what pisses me off about this statement, is that, a lesbian family would technically fit under this because there are two women, they have a child or children, and they are a family. However, I know for a fact these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about that. Just like how Italy doesn't give a fuck about that. I'm mad at you, Italy, for fucking doing that thing with the parenting rights of lesbian parents. I am mad at Italy for that, okay? The Pope can say that he's mad at faggotry all he fucking wants. I'm more mad at that. Because women should be able to raise their own fucking kids, right? Y'all drive me insane. Ooh, yeah. Updating funding priorities, focusing on health support women and children. Okay, this is around the time where he starts repeating himself. You want to fund faith-based organizations. You want to fund experience initiatives. The magic word is back. Leveraging the strength and experience of presidential initiatives. It's the word. What's the word of the day? Leverage. Oh. I like how the two people that have a brain also love this word. The two people that have a brain that I've read so far in this whole book, they use the word leverage. They know how to get to the point of what all of this actually is. It is leverage. Oh, blah, blah, blah. You're bitching about the COVID pandemic, blah, blah, blah. Who cares that happened? Strengthening collection of use of data, blah, 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 blah. Oh, isn't that the Odini's thing? The use of data? The CIA? Wasn't sure you're gonna give the Odini. Strengthening private sector engagement. Okay. How are you going to amend the Build Act that already strengthened the private sector's engagement in foreign policy and yet say you're going to strengthen the private sector engagement? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. God. That's all I'm asking. Just make it make sense. Improving bureau hiring, staffing, recruitment practices. Global health should be its own management challenges and modifying the high ratio of contractors and direct hires, including career leadership and accountable, effective management. And bureau personnel that suffer from, quote, mission drift, burnout, or lack of vision. I didn't realize a lack of vision was something you could measure. Oh, I'm sorry. This employee, he's got a lack of vision. He's got mission drift. Okay? That's bad. We should fire him. Okay. How is this not setting up for like a witch trial situation? Like where somebody just says the wrong thing and all of a sudden they got burnout, they got mission drift and lack of vision. Tell me how that's gonna work. You won't, because you only gave me a tiny paragraph for this, so you're leaving it up to chance. Holding the UN and other mutual organizations accountable, blah blah blah. Are we going to hustle the United Nations? How are we going to hustle the United Nations? The United Nations, they don't take no crap, so be careful. More prominent representation of international technical committees, regulation, setting organizations, and professional values, protection, innovation, and vitality of our biometrical sector. Okay. Global humanitarian assistance, the world's largest humanitarian sector. Additionally, dispersing billions of dollars to life-saving assistance such as food, water, emergency health care, like abortions, like taking care of miscarriages, because that's part of humanitarian assistance. That's part of humanitarian assistance. So you can't say you're for humanitarian assistance and then be against this one procedure that is not only causing their nation trouble with keeping their women alive, but also causing trouble in the United States with keeping our women alive. I want y'all to stop the war on women. Maybe we'll stop the war on oil if you stop the war on fucking women. Or people with vaginas. God damn it. I swear, you people drive me fucking insane. Oh, benefit, la 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 la. Over a decade, the U.S. has implemented blah 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 in Afghanistan, blah blah blah. I think I'm done with this chapter. This leverage foreign aid to unleash power of America's private sector. Oh, this is a good one. Leveraging. The word of the day. Leveraging foreign aid to unleash a power of America's private sector. During the 1960s, blah, blah, blah. Low-key tool of American soft leadership, blah, 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 blah. Instead, the environment leveraging private sector to finance and promote climate and other progressive agendas worldwide, blah, 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 blah. Leveraging branding. Branding? Excuse me, there's a whole 2 paragraphs about branding? Deeply embodied culture within the foreign aid bureaucracy, views of public recognition of U.S. assistance secondary to large philanthropic mission to emphasize by American, and it's emphasized by the American flag, citing vaguely unified sector U.S. aids, implementers, UN agencies, and internet. Okay. The United States is in a struggle for influence with China, Russia, and other competitors. American generosity must not go unacknowledged. So basically what they're saying is that when you get that foreign aid package, we can be waving our flag like this. Old flag. Here, have some cases of bottled water. We're done here. America. No medical assistance for the miscarriage. Sorry about that, lady. You gotta die. Come to the U.S. where you'll be treated just like shit. Come to the U.S. You'll be treated just the same. Oh my god, fuck. Other offices and agencies. Bureau for Foreign Assistance, Office of Administrators. The next conservative should have a place in the current structure of 2 presidential Senate confirmed deputy administrators. Blah blah blah. As noted above, the next conservative administration should name the U.S. Aid Administrator Director of Foreign Assistance, and it should be current book of S. Okay, even though these are Senate confirmed positions, the president should pick who the Senate confirms. So who's really fucking picking? Management Bureau. The next you should name a political appointee. Blah 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 blah. You should name a person here. Office of Human Capital and Talent Management. As soon as possible after Inauguration Day, the next conservative administration should name a political appointee as the U.S. Aid's Chief Human Capital Officer of Human Capital. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so basically, this whole ass 2 to 3 pages is basically naming off a bunch of positions that the president should, put with his own people. So this is nothing new in this book, so I'm just gonna skip over to the good part when it comes to him talking shit about regions. Oh boy. Most popular continent in battle against communist China's efforts of blah 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 blah. Okay. The Middle East is far more vulnerable today than it was in 2020. I like how 2020 is the comparison, because the Middle East has been pretty fucking vulnerable ever since 2001. Ever since the Middle East has been pretty fucking vulnerable for the past 20 to 30 years. So just mentioning the past, 4 or 5 years is kind of fucking hilarious. How are you going to end the Arab-Israeli conflict? Boy. Foreign aid must advance the Abraham Accords. Increased trade and investment between Israel and its Arab neighbors represent the most effective path to reducing poverty, fostering emergence of middle class, and solidifying peace. I like how the Republicans' answer to war is, no, listen. If we start trading products with each other and start getting the good of the market flowing, then I'm sure world peace will happen. If we just need the market will help us. These people have no idea of the mess they created, of the mess we, as American people, as American politicians, have created back in the 40s, back in the 50s, back when we were funding Israel for a long time, and that's why the U.S. treats Israel like its stepchild in the Middle East. So, again, you can't get your dream going unless you acknowledge the problems of your past, and this is something we've had issue with the last chapter, that had a brain. Miss Skinner, her chapter had the same issue. It's you can't have these fantasy policies about Africa and Israel and Latin America without really fucking acknowledging your past. And these people don't know their past like that. And if they do, they're treating it stupid. Oh my god. Yeah, I call bullshit on this chapter. In conclusion, the conservatives have the unique opportunity to bring in foreign assistance blah, blah, blah. Yeah, author's note. In preparation for this chapter, the collective enterprise of individuals of the 2025 presidential transition project, all contributors in this chapter were listed. In front of the volume, Dr. William Stanger, Brittany Causa, and Dr. Alma Golden deserve special mention. Authors assume full responsibility of the content of this chapter. No views thereon should be attributed to any other individual. Good, because I'm going to roast you like a fucking pig on a steak. God damn. Like I said, he has a lot of points like Skinner does. However, there is... the way they want to go about it is just not correct, because they have no awareness of the US's past in a lot of these fucking places, and they think that throwing the market somewhere is gonna fucking solve everybody's problems, and it's not. Because literally Democrats are doing that shit too. They're throwing the market in everyone's places, and they're hoping peace happens that way. But it won't, because these nations are gonna be at war whether we're involved or not. These nations are going to be at conflict whether we're involved or not. So, whoever you fucking vote for, just know that they're going to be managing these wars. Are you going to have a fucking cokehead convicted felon fucking managing these wars? Or do you want a district attorney managing these fucking wars? Either way, the US is involved because we got our hands everywhere. Just like this document snitches in the last chapter. They snitched on all the little fingers we have everywhere. So, that's it. That's it for now. The next, we're going to go to Section 3, the General Welfare chapter on page 6, or page 316, when we come back to this series. Lord, I hope I get through this. It has been a struggle and a half, and I appreciate that you guys have been here with me to deal with the flag waving of this chapter. All right. You guys take care, have a wonderful day, and let your flag fly. Let them know it's you. Let them know that you gave them that burger.